So guys, here we are in Ilia, the place of origin of many good Jews and good Christians too, and some of their descendants are members of my group. And Andrew here, and Andrei, I am Andrei, the group moderator. We are walking through a fairly wet field. Yesterday it rained like hell, and we're approaching the Jewish cemetery, which I tried to index and miserably failed, maybe 7 years back. It's on Graves.by, by the way. So here, the first question asked by Andrew was, how dense was the population of this area in terms of like 1930s, 40s? The answer is not so dense, although Ilia had some industries and factories around here, like tar factory, run by Rubin guys, if I remember right, my first visitors, glass factory, and a few others related and not related to timber production. The place here was the northernmost edge of the town. It was just a graveyard and the road further north to Vileka. So it wasn't really densely populated. We'll film around the city center later. Right now, there's a quick look at the graveyard. Well guys, a good while ago I started my kind of peculiar hobby, indexing old gravestones. Mapping them, basically creating a digital catalog which is freely accessible and is still upkept thanks to the help of the folks from my group on Facebook. The tombstones like this have to be cleaned up very delicately, removing the vegetation which is quite firmly grown in and obscures the writings, make out the writings, trying to read them and to put them online for the others to search them and make genealogical profit from that, meaning their own family research or whatever research this may be. I failed here after I got stuck with my SUV. We took it out of the field with a tractor. It wasn't broken, but back then, that's my first time since then, since 6-7 years ago or something like this. It's a very demanding, very expensive thing to come and dedicate your time, so you'd need a team or a very good share of enthusiasm behind you to come up and do all this. With several hundred tombstones over here, it could be a week of very good work and a couple of $1,000, including unearthing and cleaning up the tombstones that you no longer can see. Must be a couple, and this one is still at the section which I indexed, so if we open the map on Graves.by, it will be there with deciphering. And many thanks to the good Jews who helped me with the lettering, because obviously I don't speak much Hebrew.
This is
so if we trust the Graves.by database, that's Leib Abraham and Russia, died in the 30s. So we assume logically that this is the newest part of the cemetery. And that one in the back was the oldest one. Well, the oldest one obviously looks like it's the oldest without much attention.
Yeah.
So what's your Ilia genealogy, roughly?
My Ilia genealogy is that my fifth grandfather, Menashe ben Prat, came here. And he came here at a time when his father-in-law had lived here and had a grand library that he wanted to do his research and enjoy. And he developed a following through his rabbinate. And it is here that he has earned the moniker of Menashe ben Prat of Ilia.
Okay.
However, we know that he was really born in Smarhon, because his father and his father's father, my sixth and seventh grandfather, was born there and prayed there and taught there. And they were rabbis of themselves. And when we get to Smarhon, I'll explain a little more about what I know of that.
Then maybe we'll hook up through YouTube with the other fellow Smarhoners.
Yeah.
Who knows? There are the old slabs over here. we suited geometrically like
yeah,
this.
yeah. Cool. Cool. Just like that.
So as we are leisurely walking through this charming state plowed field, most likely, Andrew pointed out that it's kind of remarkable that he is here all the way through that beautiful ocean of yours, and a flight from Israel, which is not the safest place to take off from. And this morning they had alerts in the airport, or not?
Yeah.
Not our airport, the Israeli airport.
Ben Gurion. Yeah.
So, and I said that basically with several weeks by boat that the great-grandfathers in their very young age took to a very unfamiliar land that they only heard of from the rumors of the rumors.
Yeah.
That must have been a challenging trip, but not this one.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
everything is working in the comparison. Let's go see the city center and see what waits us there. Here is the humid part. We are in Ilia, guys, and this is the official monument to the Jewish population of Ilia, which was executed by the Germans in spring '42. There are names over there and the other writings. We're here with Andrew to pay the last tribute to his ancestors. The monument is scaled enough to betray some private initiative behind it, and as far as I recall, the Rubin family was involved in the construction, if I recall the 2011 story right. So many thanks to them, my first Jewish heritage tourists, if they will ever watch this video. Now we are basically rolling to Smarhon, where some more ancestry is to be tracked. Unfortunately, with the level of destruction of Smarhon, there may be little left, but we'll keep you posted, guys. We are in Smarhon, guys, western Belarus, and just out there, there are loading sounds of the local timber works. Over here at the graveyard, there is a reminder of the First World War. Smarhon was basically destroyed by the First World War front line. The Germans were fighting our Russian friends, and the city ceased to exist as a result of this trench war, which was known for its massive shelling of the opposite party. So this is the first marker here in Smarhon that we get to see. Unfortunately, as the guidebook suggests, there aren't many Jewish heritage sites left, but we'll try to locate whatever we can. We'll have some cool maps over here and see what we can feel about the place. The owner of this house was on the photograph of the city faces, city people from the 30s. We have been observing fairly liberal, local, fairly pedestrian-oriented local traits with Andrew. It's mandatory for crossing without any traffic light to have cars stop directly, the pedestrians walk out into the tarmac. And that's not the same in California, he confirms, but it's the same way in Israel. That's the interesting part. Yeah. Well, let's see where we can have a bite in this charming city. So guys, we have taken a quick lunch at the place which is one of the two restaurants in Smarhon. Let the locals forgive me if there are more. Well, of course, we're trying to investigate where the graveyards were. They are overbuilt. They are now kindergartens, basically like in Minsk in the south. And the old lady pointed towards the kindergartens, which we'll now show you. Except my magic map that I have, one of the Polish old maps points. It's just where we just walked, just where we parked essentially without knowing it. So maybe they have some matzevot dug up and installed somewhere. I don't think so. But we'll just have a careful look around here and try and visualize how things were in the past. A fairly typical provincial neighborhood we're walking through. The 5-floor buildings, standard apartments with standard people with standard salaries, I guess, who may or may not be to that restaurant of ours for a birthday celebration once a year or for a funeral. Let's insert a couple of pictures of the provincial life. A very courteous old lady told us where to look for the marker, because the war map site or something like this does not pinpoint the address right. It's just across a couple of buildings from here, and the tiles changed a great deal, so the Smarhon ghetto marker is now basically at the main crossing. Now, Andrew, we are near Victory Square and we'll see the memorial, although we've just come back from Hatin, which is a very sharp place and a must-see to many people, especially the politicians. We're in the city center, and you mentioned what most of my tourists mentioned in the good times when I was a tour guide. They told you back at home, oh no, don't go there, Belarus, no, scary place. So what's your impression? Did they really tell you don't go or something like this?
Well, you know, yes, they did say don't go. They were not necessarily Belarusians. They were my friends, my Russian friends, my friends from Ukraine, my friends from that area.
From everywhere. From everywhere.
From everywhere. True, true. And you know, I was correct in brushing them off and saying, no, I know otherwise. This is a country of history. This is a country of things that happened that showed the bravery and the courage of these people. And for the most part, these people are peace-loving. They're
generally, yes.
Yeah.
Although some of them address the opposite, but we're positive.
Nonetheless, one has to remember that I also have a home in Israel, and right now young people are walking around with machine guns and everything else, and I see nothing of that here.
Okay.
And I see nothing of anything that pretends to be interfering with people's personal life, and they're pursuing.
That's not very obvious. But yeah, there's nothing interfering.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is a little bit unprepared. Behind us are the windows of Lee Harvey Oswald, those columns upstairs. And what's your general opinion on the Oswald story? His 2 years connected with Minsk, which we just rehearsed, and what do you think? It wasn't his shots, were they?
Well, I you know, it's interesting you asked me the question at this time, because our beloved leader right now, Donald Trump, is looking to open the records that have been long closed with regard to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. I would say that my own opinion is, at this stage, I don't know. You know, there was a very unusual thing that followed. Of course, the alleged his murdering the Kennedy, and that was the shooting by
more skillful marksman.
Yeah. Well. You know who killed Lee Harvey?
Jack Ruby.
Yeah.
Cancer.
Yeah. Thank you.
The cancer killed Jack Ruby.
Yeah. Exactly. So that whole story may very well be left a question mark, and that's the way I see it. I can't say definitively what was going on there. So much history was taking place there
sure
from
enough,
the Cuban.
You were not in the library as the shot was being taken, but the guy who lives upstairs, he likes all these assassination stories because he heard all of them and he has his own opinion and he likes people. So maybe we'll consider paying him a visit up there.
Okay.
So guys, here we are at the third largest square in Europe. This way, let's go. And the government house back there survived the war, the Nazi occupation. And here we don't have that much street noise right now. There's a bridge being repaired. What's your impression about the architecture we've just seen? That's the main street, and we've been walking through a section of it. What do you think?
Well, you know, personally, I have not seen anything quite like this. In its iconic form, in its historic architectural phases, and that sort of thing. I would say that anyone who is going to explore Europe, Eurasia, and that sort of thing, Minsk is a good destination. And this, as I said, is possessing, I would even go so far as to say it possesses a charm. It's not hard if you're reasonably well read in the past history of 20th century, 19th, 20th, of course 21st century. There are things that you may have read about, either in novels or in real history, that it's not hard to imagine putting this kind of a face on those images that you may have come across in your reading and even in your experience. Even if you were to say, let me compare this to Paris or London or even these Western European, Germany even, to the extent that it was rebuilt. This is quite interesting to me. Certainly the passerbys along the way have been friendly. Of course,
so you're feeling safe generally?
Oh yeah.
Any sirens? Any strange people following you?
No.
Any demands to part with the wallet?
No.
Nothing yet.
No, I'm sure.
Okay, let's go downstairs into a shop. Maybe we'll get some treatment down there.
No. I have no fear of that.
So between here and Philadelphia, Minsk feels a bit safer at times.
I would say it's my experience as I speak now that I feel safer here in Minsk than I would in, for those of you that know Philadelphia, Center City or around that area.
I guess some of them have heard of it. Thank you very much.